Hey guys, welcome back to the Night SAT Mastery Program. Today we'll be covering Lesson 5 of Module 4, Interpreting Inequalities. Now, just as a refresher, what are these Interpreting Inequalities questions? Now, they're going to look a little something like these. They're either going to mention the word inequality explicitly, like both of these questions do, or they're going to have a greater than, equal to, less than, equal to, greater than, or less than sign within their equations. They will not be using equal signs. And even in like question 18, you can see that they use the greater than sign within the answer choices. Now, let's try answering one of these interpreting inequalities questions. Let's look at question 11. Which of the following numbers is not a solution if the inequality 3x minus 5 is greater than equal to 4x minus 3? Now, we want to look for something that is not a solution. So let's determine which ones are solutions, right? And the way we can do that is by simplification. So let's first rewrite this. And let's get all the x terms and the constants on the same side. So let's do that. Subtract 4x from that side and then add 5 to the other side. And we get this expression. Now let's simplify it even more. We get that negative x is greater than equal to 2. Now let's divide over. And once we divide by -1, remember that the sign has to flip. That is a rule with inequalities that once you divide by a negative or multiply by a negative, the sign must flip. So now we get -2 is greater than equal to x. So let's determine which answer choices, follow this. Well, we have -2, that works. -3 is also less. -5 is also less. So really, we're only left with the answer choice of -1, which in fact is not less than equal to -2. Now that we've answered one of these interpreting inequalities questions, how about you guys try answering this? Now that you've had a moment to take a look at this question and try it, let's interpret it. In the xy plane, if 0, 0 is a solution to the system of inequalities above, which we can see there, which of the following relationships between A and B must be true? Now, we have the point 0, 0 given to us, and we want to determine a relationship between A and B. So let's continue with this expression and bring those down there. Y is less than -x plus A, and Y is greater than x plus B. Now, to find a relationship between A and B, let's input a point that we're given, 0, 0. If we input 0, 0 to both of these expressions, we get 0 is less than 0 plus A, and 0 is greater than 0 plus A. Let's continue simplifying this, and we get 0 is less than A, and 0 is greater than B. So, if we think about it logically, if A is greater than 0, and B is less than 0, then doesn't A have to be greater than B? Well, this would only make sense. Say A was 1 and B was -1. They fit those inequalities. So A has to be greater than B because 1 is greater than -1. It's important to use test cases to figure out how to solve these kind of problems. So in fact, our answer is A. A is greater than B. Let's take a look at some tips when interpreting inequalities. The first thing to do is, add or subtract from each side to make sure you have the variables on one side and you have the constants on another side. The next thing we want to do is multiply and divide. And remember with these rules, if you're multiplying or dividing by negative, then you need to flip the sign. A less than equal sign becomes a greater than equal sign, and a less than sign becomes a greater than sign. The next thing you want to do is simplify. You're going to be able to do this through these processes of reverse PEMDAS. And finally, you're going to be able to solve. If you're given a specific expression and you're asked to find a solution, you can find one of the answer choices that fits your simplification. Or if you're asked to compare two variables based on that, you can simplify them and bring them together based on a common trait. Now, next time, we're going to be looking at the line of best fit questions and how to interpret those on the math section of the SAT.